Welcome to the Raider Insider. I'm sitting with head coach Dave Klepfer of the Brookville Raiders. How you doing today, Coach? Just finished up your 13th, 14th practice of the season.
Somewhere in there. Moving along.
We'll start out with the team and the team rankings. I mean, not that you care a whole lot about rankings, but it seems like you're getting some respect in the state. Both the state rankings that most people go by. Your team's ranked third preseason. Do you have a feeling about that? Does it make you feel good to get some respect? I mean, with your team not making it last year to the state tournament, and then getting a third in the preseason is pretty respectable. What's your feeling on that?
Yeah, it's a situation where you can't. I guess you can't, when you got a group of kids, you can't read a whole lot into a ranking. I mean, it's good for the eye. It's good reading material, but we're trying to be the best team in the district, and just trying to get better each day and see where we're at come the end of the year.
Have you set any team goals for your team yet this year? I mean, have you actually sat down and talked to the guys and said, this is what we're looking for, this is what I'd like to do, this is where I want to see us?
Haven't really sat down with them. I mean, we've talked quite a bit about what we expect and what we're shooting for, but our goals every year are the same. We're trying to win a District 9 championship, and anything more than that is a bonus. So we're got a good group of kids and pretty excited about how things have gone so far. I know they're getting anxious to start competing, so Saturday couldn't come quick enough.
All right, let's talk a little bit about your schedule. This is probably, I think, since I've been around Brookville, and maybe ever in Brookville history that I know of, the most wrestling Brookville Raiders are probably going to do from the start of the season to the first of the year. You open at Greenville Duels. You get, arguably at the last match in Greenville Duels, you're going to get Cannon McMillan, one of the best teams in AAA over the last, 4 or 5 years. How are you feeling about the Greenville Duels? Do you have good do you think it's going to be a good gauge on where your guys are at?
Of course, as a coach, always this time of the year, you never think you're ready for it. Still got a lot of things to cover, and we're pretty young. We only have 4 seniors on the squad this year, so we're just trying to get better each day. But we're not going to think too much one way or the other. I think coming out of Greenville, we're just going to go see where we're at this point of the season, and like you said, we're pretty heavy schedule through December, so we'll know a lot more come January 1st where we're at as a team, and we'll see.
Looking down through the schedule, you got 4 dual meets after Greenville, and then you come in on a Saturday night actually and wrestle West Branch, which, I mean, a lot of teams, they went to the state team duels last year. I think they competed well. The Raiders beat them by 1 point last year, and they pretty much are returning most of their lineup. I mean, is that something on your schedule you had circled for this, once you found out where they were going to be at and they were going to be back on the schedule?
Yeah, we knew they were moved up this year into December. Last year we had them there towards the end of the year, and they're going to be tough. Like you said, they returned everyone, and it'll be a good test for us. I don't know if we'll have our full lineup by that point or not, but we're gonna send out some guys, and like I said, we got a lot of young guys, and gonna get thrown into the action pretty early, and we're gonna see what kind of fight they have in them, and hopefully we can come out and win.
Let's go 7 days later. You walk into the Powerade. The first time the Raiders ever in the Powerade last year. I think they did fairly well. You come in with 3 medals. Some guys could have done a little better. Some guys, kind of did a little better, maybe expected. What do you think of the Powerade this year? I mean, the field's changed, but it looks like a pretty tough field. I think there's 44, 43 teams. Some of the top teams in the country. I know Georgia's bringing like 3 or 4 of their top teams in the state, and Georgia actually is one of the better teams coming up now. So, what are you thinking about the Powerade?
Yeah, tough as always. It is the best of the best. It's one of the top 3 tournaments in the United States for high school wrestling, and it's towards the end of the year after Christmas, so we'll have a good bit of wrestling in us by then, and hopefully we're getting into the point that point of our schedule where you should be starting to get towards your A game, and we'll see. We'll see. You know, it's got a lot of wrestling before then, and it's definitely going to be exciting. You know, like you said, they bring in some of the best schools and truthfully, a lot of the best individuals in the United States. So it's a true test for everyone in our lineup.
Let's jump ahead to the middle of January. The Brookville Ultimate Duels. Looking at the teams that are showing up, this possibly could be one of the best duels in recent history. You know, but I mean, Bowling Springs had some scheduling issues, dropped out. Not sure if they've refilled that spot yet, but you still got Chestnut Ridge, who took, I think, fourth at the PIAA state. Sagertown's always competitive and coming up and growing and getting better. Reynolds is always a powerhouse, has always been a powerhouse. Burrell just seems to win every year. So, I mean, do you feel that this maybe is one of the better duels as far as team-wise and competition? It's been around maybe since you've been coaching?
Absolutely. I was just telling some of the other guys just recently that it's probably the best field I've seen in the 13 years I've been coaching. It's going to be an interesting day of wrestling. Pretty excited. There's a lot of, like you said, top-ranked teams, and there'll be a lot of good individual matchups like there always is, and it's really a fun day of wrestling for everyone.
Let's jump to the last dual meet of the year. It's always been a rival. I mean, there's a chance you might see him before at the district team duels, but Brookville Raiders traveled down to Red Bank Valley. Red Bank lost a lot, but you look at their lineup and what you think could be a lineup, look like they're going to be a pretty solid team. I mean, is that a match that you kind of had circled on your thing too? You know, they beat us twice last year in heartbreaking losses, and be going down there, maybe win one in their gym.
I think if you ask myself and Coach Ken Dick, it's probably one that gets penciled in every year, highlighted on the schedule. It's a fun rivalry. They do a super job down there with their kids, and we both like wrestling each other. It's good competition. It's good for the fans, and like I said, it was definitely one that's been penciled in on my calendar for about a full year now. So. It's a long ways from now till then, and both teams have a lot of competitions to get ready for those dual meets. And it's like I said, it's a ways down the road, but it's definitely something that's in the back of our head.
Let's jump to the last competition of the year, a state tournament. It's always nice. Last year, took 4 guys down, 3 of them placed. Everybody won matches. The good thing is, all 4 of them guys are back. Have you sat down and thought, boy, we might have a shot at doing something at the state team duels or state individual duels as far as team points go, and how much, lay in bed at night and say, boy, I think I could get this, and this many kids. Do you do that? Have you started that yet?
I think if you ask any coach that has a good group of kids, he probably looks ahead a little bit to, think about what the possibilities are. I know that we've got a great group of kids. I know there's a good handful of them, or maybe a couple handfuls, that have the potential to be at Hershey, and once you get there, it's anyone's game. So don't know how many we're going to take, but I know we have the potential to take down several guys and compete for a high medal, if not the whole thing. But again, that's so far away, and got a lot going on between now and then, and all these competitions leading up to that are just practice, trying to get you ready for the big tournament at the end.
Let's talk a little bit about your lineup. I know you just had wrestle-offs. I mean, we can release it maybe on the Raider Insider if you want to, what your starting lineup's going to kind of look like. I know you, as a coach, you move guys around. It's, whatever's going to work out best for the duel, for that duel. So, at 106, I mean, who do you got at 106?
It'll be Gavin Park or Jake St. Laurent. It'll be Gavin's a 9th grader and Jake's a 10th grader. It looks right now as if Gavin's going to be our starter, and a very talented freshman. Had a real good junior high career, and I expect him to be a good spark plug for us this year. In the past few years, we've had good guys coming out of the gate there at 106, and this year should be no different. Pretty excited for the season he's going to have, and he's put in a lot of work and extra time to be ready for this season. He knew he was going to be coming up as a 9th grader, so pretty excited for him.
All right, let's jump up to 113. I'm an avid wrestling fan, so I know there ain't no clear cut 113 quite yet. I mean, what's your thoughts on 113? What you're going to do with moving guys around up and down?
I think eventually Orts will be down. Tate Orts will be down at 113 or 115. And again, once our lineup all gets settled, we expect him to settle in there. And it's no secret how the talent he has. He was ninth grader last year, district champ, regional runner-up, and 1-2 at the state tournament. So he did all the right things in the off season, and he hit a little bit of a growth spurt. But again, I think once he gets settled into his weight class, that's a good 1-2 punch for our team, starting with Gavin and him.
All right, let's jump up to 120. Just looking at the roster and what guys weight, seems like you have a good mix of guys being able to go 120, 126. What are you looking at 120?
120 will be a number of guys. Again, at the beginning of the year, I think Devin Joyner is probably going to be our starter, with Zach Gilbert and Logan Thrush, new kid that moved in from Colorado with a few years' experience. Those guys will provide some good depth. They're all strong, athletic kids, and they've all got a good amount of experience. So I suspect that'll be a season-long battle there to see who is going to be our starting 120-pounder.
126 now?
Cole Aaron looks like he'll be starting out. Again, a really talented sophomore. Last year as a freshman, he was third in the district and fourth in the region, so he just came up shy of making it to the state tournament. But he is a 30-match winner, and I think last year the way things ended with him, still carrying it with him a little bit. So he's been working extremely hard in the room here so far this year, and I think he's pretty excited to get going and pick up where he left off last year.
Now jumping up to 132. Got a couple guys might be able to fit in there and juggle them around. What are you thinking there?
Cole Klepfer, who's had a pretty solid career to this point, and Dalton Zimmerman, obviously, who is state qualifier the last 2 years and placed sixth last year as a sophomore. So you got two guys there that are extremely talented, and they get in there and push each other every day. And one of them is going to wrestle probably 32 to start, and the other one's probably going to go up to 138.
All right, we're going to jump to 138. You just mentioned one of them guys. You going to have anybody else going 38? Thinking about anybody right now, or is just kind of play it by ear?
I think that's probably kind of where we're at right now. We're kind of heavy through 20 and 26, and then through 50 to 60. But right now, 138, it looks like it'll be those couple guys.
Well, you go to 145 now, and I mean that leads to the only one of the guys left is one of your horses, Brock Zockerl. I mean, he's proven himself on the mat in every level that he's ever wrestled. What's your thoughts on him and anybody else that might fit in there?
He's one of our leaders, and he's down to 1 year left, and he knows he's got to make this one count, and he's done a lot of the extra things in the off season to try to prepare this year to chase after that state title that's eluded him so far. And he just does all the right things. He's he's a great student, and he works hard in the off season, and he's a good leader in the room. And I think he's got the same goals and aspirations as he's had the last 3 years, but he's just come up shy. So he's getting ready for for a long season, a final season. He knows it's his last one, and he's got to make it a fun one.
Let's jump up to 152 and get to the upper weights. I think some people that don't really follow the Raider wrestling are going to be surprised by some of these kids and where you're gonna probably say they're going to be in the lineup. But let's start out at 152. What are you looking at 152?
We've got a lot of depth between 150 and 60, so it's going to give us some flexibility in juggling guys around in the lineup. But Jimmy Miller, proven junior, who's put together close to 50 wins so far in his first 2 years, and he's just an exciting wrestler to watch in dual meets. He's a guy that he wrestles for 5-point moves, stuff like that. So he's a really technical guy. He's just one of those guys. He's a lot of fun to watch, and he's probably going to be our starter at 152 to start the season. Dom Palmer is a sophomore. Dane Clever another sophomore. Both guys that have been at it for a few years here and showing steady improvement in the room, and excited for those guys to see how they progress throughout the year as they're stuck in there with some of those better kids, the Millers and the Zockrells and Broman there. They can only improve by wrestling guys like that every day. So.
All right, let's move on to 160.
60 will be, to start out, more than likely is going to be Brody Zockrell. Noah Selesky will be in there too, another ninth grader who's decided he wanted to come up to varsity this year. I think it was a good move for him. To this point, probably one of the most improved guys from the first day of practice, and Noah's going to be a good one down the road. Brody, obviously, proven wrestler. He's a few wins shy of 100 wins. Again, he's looking to make his first trip to states, and he's good enough to go down there and place pretty high, we believe. He's just been shy the last couple years, and again, he used that as motivation in the off season, made the trip out to Fargo, and put in a lot of extra time trying to get ready for his senior year.
Okay, let's move up to 170.
It's probably going to be Zach Vroman. Vroman will be in there between 60 and 70 also. With Selesky, will be juggled around in there. But to start, it's probably going to be, Vroman and Selesky, Zockrell shuffling guys around in those lineups. Obviously, Zach Vroman, again, another kid who's just a few wins shy of 100 right now, and two-time district champ and fifth in the state last year as a junior. So he's coming in with a high ranking of second or third in the state. He's not wrestling at the moment. He's battling through an injury, trying to wait to see what's going to happen there. But we get him back in our lineup, it's obviously going to make us that much stronger.
Move on to a couple weights. If there's really a weak part of the lineup, this is going to be it at 82, 95. What are you looking, moving guys around?
Probably going to do the shuffle game most of the year, in the big dual meets anyways. And you're not going to do it every night. It's hard going up and wrestling some of those bigger kids. But we've got guys that are willing to do it, whatever it takes for the team. And that's comforting as a coach. It's encouraging. You need guys like that. And when you want to beat the best teams, you always have to try to get the right matchups. And, we got guys that are willing to do that. So to start off, we're going to be pretty thin there at 82 and 95, but filling the weight classes and the big dual meets, that's something we'll be doing.
Let's jump to 95. The kid at 95, as you know, because it affected your dual meet season last year, had a little heartbreaking decision, had to set out last year per some PIAA rules. Brycetown, what are you looking on Brycetown? I mean, is he ready? Is he hungry since he missed that year? Is he excited about being in the room?
He's definitely hungry. Ready. I would say he's ready. He did all the right things in the off season too. A group of them went out to Fargo for the Freestyle Nationals, and he was in that group. And missing all of last year was it definitely fueled him. He found as many matches as he could in the off season, and he's just to this point he's been a nice surprise in the room, and he's working extremely hard. So we're pretty excited to see him get out there and get some action after missing all of last year. But we're expecting big things out of him. We know we're going to be thin there at 82 and 95, but we're going to finish pretty strong with Bryce and Nathan there at 220 and heavyweight.
You mentioned Nate Nosker. He's the only heavyweight listed on the roster. Took a year off last year for one reason or another, some health issues from football and stuff. Back again this year as a senior. Do you think that gives you a little bit more comfort going into the last matches? He's been at least a little battle tested. He was on your team that took fourth in the state 2 years ago. So what's your feeling at finishing out at heavyweight?
Pretty excited actually. So far to this point, he's shown some. He's shown that he's going to be a good guy to lean on towards the end of dual meets. He works hard. He's athletic. He's going to do well at that weight class. He fills out the weight. He's actually going to lose a little bit of weight to get down, but He's it's a nice way to finish, you know, with a kid that's big, athletic, and has some wrestling experience behind him. So we're pretty excited. I think he might surprise some people this year. He might even surprise himself a little bit. But we're expecting some big things out of Nathan.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for sitting down and talking with the Raider Insider. Hopefully, we'll get to see you a couple more times this year. I know we didn't last year. Just give the fans a little piece of something to look forward to. Saturday starts your action. Good luck in the season, and thanks.
Thank you.